Welcome to the Flourish.Academy podcast. My name is Heather Lottinen, and I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Mara Chick. We believe everyone can be successful in any endeavor they pursue, whether it's personal or professional. By constantly nourishing your mind and reading books, you can impart wisdom and tactics into your life and business. In this podcast, we'll be discussing the books that have impacted us and share actionable strategies at the end of each episode to help you succeed.
So sit back and relax while we read the books for you.
So that you don't have to.
You don't have to. Today we are diving into Big Potential by Shawn Achor. And this book is all about how to transform the pursuit of success, raising your achievements, happiness, and well-being. Ooh, Heather.
I know, I'm really excited. Hey, Ed, had you read his first book, which is The Happiness Advantage?
I tried.
You tried? What was the problem?
I don't know. I don't remember. It was like 5 years. Well,
Yeah.
how old is that book? I don't know.
It's been out a while.
It's been out a while. I tried. And then I think it was, during a depressed time with Tony.
Oh, it was...
And I did not really want to hear about someone telling me how to be happy.
Got it. Got it. It's a great book. It is filled with a lot of research, but this book blew us away.
This book is amazing. I really, if I could highlight the whole book, I would have highlighted the whole book.
Yeah, we have a lot of notes.
Yes.
So we're going to start with chapter 1, The Power of Hidden Connections. So I'm going to share the story that he shares to demonstrate the power of working with a group of people to elevate everyone. And there was this study, this is in 1935, conducted by Professor Hugh Smith. Not that that really matters, but anyway, he was studying lightning bugs. And it was really interesting because the bioluminescent lightning bugs were illuminating at the same time, and they were acting together as a community. And he observed this, and they thought this was really interesting because what lightning bugs do is they illuminate to attract mates. So the males light up, if I have this correct, the males light up to attract females. And so that the biologists thought, well, that's kind of strange that they would all light up because wouldn't that lessen their chances of finding a mate? But what he found is that it actually increased their production. It increased their likelihood of finding a mate when they lit up together. So they were better as a larger group rather than just one by themselves. Essentially, I'm going to go into the book right now. He says, as published in the journal Science, these researchers found that when lightning bugs lit up at random times, the likelihood of a female responding to a male in the deep, dark recesses of a mangrove forest is 3%, very low. But when the lightning bugs lit up together, the likelihood of females responding is 82%. The success rate increased by 79 percentage points when flashing as an interconnected community rather than individuals. Society teaches that it's better to be the only bright light than to be in a forest of bright lights.
I mean, think about this. If you're standing there looking at a forest and you see this huge gathering of lights, you're going to be attracted to that. People are going to be coming at you. So the more the merrier, there's enough for everyone to go around.
There's enough for everyone.
We worry about that all the time in our industries. We hear all the time, people are like, oh, there's so many photographers. Well, the more the merrier. I mean, all of our lights are shining bright.
It's actually a really good point. We're better together. Mm-hmm. And there is a lot of complaint in a lot of industries, but especially with photographers, that the market is oversaturated. But what we're saying is that the more, the better. The better we are.
That's hard. It's going to be a hard concept for people to get in their mind.
And he goes, as you'll see in the book, he goes through with the research. Mm-hmm. They have study after study after study that proves it in different ways. And I'm really excited to get into all of the tactics that he shares.
This is going to be great. So just a real quick kind of summary as to what this book is all about. I'm going to read just right from page 18. By becoming a positive node in your workplace, company, or community and helping those around you improve their creativity, their productivity, their abilities, their performance, and more, you are not only helping the group become better, you are exponentially increasing your own potential for success. The more you help people find their light, the brighter you both will shine.
This means it's even easier for other fireflies to find their way to the light. I love the story about the lightning bugs. Do. I mean, this is the opening chapter of the book, and the minute I read that, I thought, we need to talk about this book because we're better together.
We are, but I say that all the time in my self-love group. We're better together because we're so used to being apart. Okay, we're going to move to page 20. And I'm going to read straight from the book. The people who rise to the top are not those who try to do everything all by themselves, but rather those who can ask others for help and rally others to grow. Okay, listen. Like, we have a hard time asking for help. All of us, mainly women, have a very hard time with this. I've learned. I've worked with a lot of women, and it's like we feel like we're defeated. Like we can't do it all. Guess what? You can't do it all. I've learned this a lot, even in my own business. I've had to outsource things that I love to do, but I just don't have the time anymore. And even the things I don't love to do, that's easy for me to outsource that kind of stuff. I could care less. But like the stuff that I love to do, I've learned that but hey, I'm going to help that girl shine who's helping me out. I'm going to make her life better. And but I can still shine from that. You know what I mean? Like, we feel like we have to dim the lights of others.
Do you think that it was hard for you? And we have both recently outsourced some things in our business. It was hard for us to let go because some of the things we loved, like you said, but do you think it's also partly an ego issue?
I think so. Yeah.
I
can do it all. Mm-hmm. Look at me. You should all be looking up to me because I can do. No, guess what? You can't do it all. Okay.
Right.
You can have it all, but just not all at the same time. How about that?
Okay. That's a good one.
I love that.
A good one.
Okay. Moving straight to page 21, if you're following along. Achieving our highest potential is not about survival of the fittest. It is survival of the best fit. In other words, success is not just about how creative or smart or driven you are, but how well you are able to connect with, contribute to, and benefit from the ecosystem of people around you. It isn't just how highly rated your college or workplace is, but how well you fit in there. It isn't just how many points you score, but how well you complement the skills of the team. And Shawn goes in to talk about his time at Harvard. So I'm going to read this from page 22. I saw this firsthand during my 12 years at Harvard as I watched students crash upon shores of hyper competition, then get stranded on the banks of self-doubt and stress. Realizing that they were no longer the only superstar, many panicked. They pushed themselves harder, sequestering themselves so they could go faster, trying to be the brightest light shining. The result was darkness. I mean, that's pretty powerful to say. Like, and he talks about a lot of depression here that happens for those kind of students because they're used to being the superstar in their high school, and then they get to college and they're like, wait, we're all smart. What do we do now?
Yeah, we're all superstars in the top 10%. I've actually read in other books studies about this too, and that many of these students would do better at a lower ranking college where they maintained their superstardom than going into a group where everybody was a superstar, unless they were able to form social networks to support one another. So as we'll see throughout the book, he references Harvard a lot, how when the ones who were the most successful were the ones that came together and worked together as a team instead of trying to sequester themselves in the library by themselves. I'm going to do this alone. Those are the ones
loneliness, it never works. Alone never works. Do you think I built my business alone? No. There's many of people behind me supporting me that have helped me. You, my husband, my mom. Like, we don't do it alone. You can't. It's not a vacuum.
You can't be an island. And he goes on to say in this same area on page 23, he says, in the Happiness Advantage, I wrote how you can significantly increase your own happiness by doing things such as gratitude exercises, practicing optimism, and meditating. But at some point, if you make these things only about your happiness, you reach an invisible limit where happiness can neither be sustained nor grow. The only way to lift that ceiling is to use your own happiness as a fuel to make others happier.
Ooh. Do you see yourself making other people happy? Like, when you're mentoring people, do you see that? Because you have a pretty good attitude all the time. I mean, we all have down moments, but like for the majority of the time, you are happy Heather. Okay. Do you feel like people leave you happier?
Well, that's absolutely the goal. The goal is, my number one rule is to leave things better than you found them, especially people. Leave people better than you found them. So if someone comes into my home, or if it's over the phone or over a Skype session, my goal, whether it's an hour or 2 hours, is to leave them better than I found them. However I need to do that. Yes. So happy, we're using the word happy here, but better might also mean challenged. But that's my absolutely every interaction I make, I want somebody to walk away feeling better about themselves because quite frankly, in a selfish way, I want them to associate that with me.
Yeah.
I
She made me happy. I
yeah.
need to go back to her.
And
Yeah.
I don't want the opposite to be
Yeah.
true. Think about it. If you are negative and you impact someone in a negative way, whether it's a circumstance or not, they're associating it with you. And I don't want that. I don't want that to be associated with me.
I love when my clients come and they're just like, they leave and it's like a spirit in them I did not see when they
That's right.
walked in. It's a completely different person. And I love that. That's what, like, that's my goal. The photos are a bonus. I always say that, but like the goal is to have them walk out with so much confidence that you can just tell that something changed in them.
That drives
I love
you.
that. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
that's where I go. Okay, moving on straight to page 25, as we wrap up chapter 1. Shawn gives a lot of research. So he says seeds are the perfect metaphor for this research because a seed cannot grow alone without the help of the sun, soil, and water. In the same way, you can grow your potential, but you can't grow it alone. The biggest growth is achieved when you tap into the potential of those around you. Okay, so just yesterday, someone called me a seed planter.
Oh, perfect.
And I was like, well, I wrote that down. I'm like, I need to journal about that because it just hit. Like, she's like, you like plant the seed in us, and then it just like it grows and grows and grows as all these things that you give us like come together. And I was like, that's great. Like, I'm planting a seed in the heart, and it's just like every time I share something or photos or whatever, like it's just like running its way through the body. And I love that metaphor. And then I was preparing for today, and
you saw that. Yeah, that's synchronicity.
that's a synchronicity.
Did you even understand the importance of the ripple effect that you are having on these women? Because that seed ripples out for eternity. You change the legacy of future generations by planting that one seed, and you do it every single day. That is enormous. I mean, the gravity of that can sometimes be overwhelming because it's a lot of responsibility. But
I'm not gonna lie.
But you see it changing people.
I do.
And you think this impacts them forever, and their children and their children's children. It's a legacy. It's very, very important. I love that. I love that analogy with the seed.
Yes,
That's
it's
really
great.
good. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move straight to chapter 2 on page 31 if you are following along. If you look at a hill while standing next to someone you consider to be a friend, that hill looks 10 to 20% less steep than if you were facing that hill alone. That is a stunning finding. Perception of your objective, physical world is transformed by including others in your pursuit of achievement. This makes evolutionary sense. Other people provide resources and support, so mentally and physically, mountains seem more climbable, successes more achievable, and obstacles more surmountable with others beside us. Go for it, Heather.
Yeah,
I know.
This blew me away. He says if you're looking at a hill and judging how steep it is, the mere presence of social support transforms your perception. And that's actually a real physical feature. Physical hill could be measured, right? Think about things that cannot be measured. How you perceive a challenge or a failure or a stepping stone or whatever. It is easier to navigate with support and friends. Okay, at an emotional level, I think, or logical level, I'm sorry, we know that. Of course we know that. But when you read the research that says, listen, this is real, your perception will change if you include others. And this blew my mind. I read this multiple times.
This is like, I feel like when I look back over, my life kind of building this business that I have now, like it was easier having someone like you by my side who was like, you can do this. What do you, like, there's nothing to be afraid of. Like, just go do it. Like, to have someone like a cheerleader, I always call you my cheerleader because you're always there. Like, you can do it. Rah, 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 sis, boom, bah. And like, I'm going to get you a little cheerleading skirt and outfit. But like it makes it so much more bearable. And I think we're in this, like he's talked about this, like we're alone all the time. We think we need to like success is this vacuum and we're in a silo, but like we're not. And I love having people support me that can challenge me and say like, maybe you want to rethink this. I mean, it's great. It does make it easier. I mean, really think about it. Like if you were doing this alone, I would not be where I am in my career right now.
Right. None of us would. None of us would. You have to do it with a team. It changes your perception. It is critically important that you put your ego aside. For me, it was my ego and pride. Like, I can do this on my own. I can figure it out. I don't need anyone. Okay, that's ridiculous. I know that now. I used to be an island of heather. That is so stupid.
You're so stupid.
It was stupid.
You're not stupid.
Why
you just were naive, maybe.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a good word. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
I just didn't know. And I thought, I could do this.
But you know what you're doing? You're saving other people from going through that
That's it.
because you're putting yourself out there saying, like, I'm here to help you.
Don't do what I did.
And, like, yeah. Don't be an idiot like me.
Don't be an idiot.
Okay, moving straight into page 40. If you are currently not happy but surround yourself with happy people, your likelihood of finding happiness increases dramatically. In short, being surrounded by happy people doesn't guarantee you happiness, but it significantly improves your chances. Okay.
I love this. He says, if you became happier, any friend within a 1 mile radius would be 63% more likely to also become happy. First of all, Shawn Achor uses very specific statistics.
There's a lot of statistics and studies.
1 mile radius,
yes.
63%. It's very specific. But think about that. The impact, again, back
Yes.
to the ripple effect. That it matters. It matters to the people around you.
I feel like this is what we do with our mastermind a lot because we have all of these women coming together, and it's not just open to women, but that's who we have in our group right now. But they come together and we share ideas. We're happier. I think they're starting to see like, hey, she's happy. I can be happy. Like we're all laughing and having fun at our meetings. And it's just great to see the sharing of ideas and openness that we all can have when we're together. And I also feel like this leads into a discussion on Edison. So researchers actually, and Shawn mentions this in the book, researchers actually have a hard time pinpointing what Edison actually invented because he worked with a team of inventors.
Right.
So he wasn't in his silo. He was not on his island saying, like, I'm going to do this. I can invent this light bulb. He invented the light bulb, right?
Right.
Yeah,
He did. And the phonograph, yeah.
Okay, lots of things.
Yeah, lots of
He has
things.
1,900 patents, I think it says. Yeah, 1,900
Right.
patents. So he wasn't standing there on the island being like, I'm going to do this all on my own. Like, he went and got other people to work with him to share those ideas. And I love that. I think someone as successful as him does that, then we need to do it as well.
For sure. It takes a team. Okay. Back to the book. Page 46. Okay. This is
All
fantastic.
right. You need to set this up for people who don't know you.
I have chickens. I have about 30 chickens. We live on a homestead. We name these chickens. They have personalities. They have social structure. I sit with them. I talk with them. We love our chickens. It's a little ridiculous.
Every time I see you, I get eggs.
Yeah, we love our chickens. So when I get into this and he cites a study on chickens, I wrote in the book.
Others like, chickens.
I love this analogy. So he's talking essentially about pecking order. Chickens have pecking order to determine the alpha. It's always a male. It's a rooster present. So there's an alpha male, and then there's a pecking order. Literally, if there's 30 chickens, there are 30 places in that order. And they will work to establish that pecking order. And the one who's at the bottom knows she's at the bottom. It's usually a runt of a hen. She knows it, and they're okay with it. Okay, in this study, he was talking about high producing chickens and putting these chickens together to mate together and what happens. And he said that when chickens have a pecking order that is not clearly established, that is, they're fighting to establish it, egg production was down because they were preoccupied with where they stood in the pecking order. But when they put chickens together who established a pecking order quickly and got along, their egg production went up significantly. So in the book, he says, you can waste energy by maintaining a pecking order. If animals don't care about a pecking order and they get along, that energy can be transferred to production. In other words, when members of a group, be they humans or chickens, focus only on competing their way to the top, they are likely to peck one another to death. When they work to lift one another up, however, everybody wins. And he goes
And
on,
he uses chickens.
and he explains the study. But Mara, I have seen this. I have seen when
This happens in your backyard.
In my backyard. It's a scientific study right here in our homestead. When they're fighting for a pecking order, egg production is down. Mm-hmm. And they, in fact, will peck each other to death. Mm-hmm. They will, if it can't be established peacefully. Sometimes it is.
There's a war in the chicken coop.
There is. Some chickens will fall right in line. Others are like, no, I want to be the alpha. And the roosters will kill one another to establish who the alpha is. But once they get that order established and everything's peaceful, they know each chicken knows where they stand, egg production goes up. So this is true for humans.
This is true. You know this to be true. You don't need the study to tell you this, right?
I could have written
this section. Okay, as we conclude our discussion on chapters 1 and 2, just the strategy we want to give you for today, I really want you to make a conscious effort to be happy. Okay, I know that sounds so frou-frou. Okay,
Yeah, how do you
let me
do
just
that?
be happy, Mara. Come on now. But when you feel yourself getting down and recognizing like, oh, okay, I'm not feeling like energized or like engaged, passionate about something, I want you to recognize that feeling. Like, okay, I'm not feeling like I know people can't be happy 24 hours a day because there's stuff that comes up all the time. They're like, well, but when it's over, like, a couple day period, something's not right. And I find that sometimes I lose my joy. I'm so busy in my business that I have lost the joy for what I'm doing. So recognize that feeling. And then I want you to do something immediately that's going to make you happy. Go play, go do something with other people. If it's shopping, going and getting Starbucks, like whatever makes you happy, go and do that. When it makes you happy, you will project that onto other people. They will then become happy. I mean, Shawn even said it with the research he quoted in the book. And it just creates this like cycle of happiness and exchange of good feelings. And just imagine if that like wave went all across, like everyone you met that day. So, and that'll make you happier. So that's really what I want you to do. Be conscious of your feelings. Get out there and be happy.
So create a virtuous cycle. So, but are you saying that happiness is a choice?
I think so.
I think it is.
I do. I really, like, we have a choice to, our feelings are feelings, like and no one can make you feel any way. You decide to feel one way or another. So we can choose to be happy and we can I know that there are situations that people deal with that but I can point out something in someone that's like, yeah, you're dealing with that, but look at your fortitude to be able to deal with that. I want you to find the good in each and every situation because it's there. You might not see it and you can't see it yet, but someone else can see it in you.
Okay. I think making a choice to be happy is really important.
Yes.
So you say, if you find yourself feeling unhappy, make a choice to recognize it. I don't feel good right now. How can I change that? Change your state. Can you give us an example of maybe something that's happened to you recently where you were not in a good place emotionally, mentally, you recognize it, and then it's so hard. How do you change it?
So one thing I did immediately was I called my nephew because my nephew makes me laugh like nobody else. So I knew I needed someone to make me laugh. And I'm like, who can I? Okay, let me call Ethan. So I'm going to call Ethan. And he will just then he'll text me emojis that are just like these random emojis. And I'm like, okay. And then he calls me Oscar the Grouch because I get grouchy when I'm hungry. So, just this kid has this innate sense to make me laugh, and it immediately picked me up.
It changes your
And
state.
then my husband came home, and I'm like, hey, honey. It wasn't like, hi, honey. Okay, there's a difference. Hi, honey. Hi, honey.
Right.
Changes him the second he walks in the door. So something as simple as just calling your nephew or getting a text message with Oscar the Grouch emojis and gifts. It lifted me. Right. I mean, it's something so small,
right?
But it impacted me immediately. So it doesn't have to be a big thing. You don't have to go out and be like, I'm going to go play soccer with a huge soccer team. No, I'm just going to go call my nephew.
Right. I practice Amy Cuddy's research, which is just to smile for 2 minutes straight and you'll change your brain chemistry.
Yeah.
So if I'm having a really difficult day, which by the way, I did yesterday morning, I had a really challenging situation. I was very upset and angry in my mind, not at anyone, but myself. And I was in my car and I'm driving around smiling. Big fake smile. Because her research shows that it changes your brain chemistry. That, and I sing Jesus music. So I will sing praise songs and I'll put this big smile on my face for as many minutes as I can stand because when it's hard to break that state when you're miserable, but for at least 2 minutes. And I found that when you do that and you just change your focus, you can change your state, you can change how you feel, and you can become happier.
Absolutely. All right, as we wrap up today's episode, Heather, can you tell everyone how they can support our
Oh, you
podcast?
know what? I would love to. But why don't you tell us something that's going on in your world? What's happening in Pics by Chicks photography right
Oh,
now?
nothing. We're not doing anything. No. We actually have some really big things coming up. I've been working really, really hard on building my self-love club, for lack of better word. It's just this community that I'm building for people who really want to work on their self-love and body positivity. And I'm taking enrollments for the club right now.
Oh, good. Where could they get information
You can
about
go
that?
to Pics by Chicks Photography, and it's PICS, Pics by Chicks, CHICKS Photography. We'll link it in the show notes. So just go to Flourish.Academy/podcast, right? Did I get
Yes,
that right?
you did.
Is
You
it
did.
/ or /? I don't know.
It would
What's
be a
forward
forward
slash?
slash. Yeah.
I don't really know.
Podcast.
Podcast.
Yes.
So if you go to Flourish.Academy, I can link all of that in the show notes, but it's going to be really great. I'm working on a lot of challenges to help us with, loving ourselves.
That's
and
fantastic.
I'm doing some free events too, as for participants in the club, learning about competition and how that kind of steals your joy and your beauty. And learning to strip off the masks that we hide behind all the time because we're so afraid of people seeing who we really are.
Fantastic.
So it's good stuff. So check it out if
Definitely.
you're interested. I'll link it in the show notes, but you can always, like our podcast and give us we need ratings, right?
We need reviews, ratings,
Reviews.
subscribe. All of those things help. And if you want to see the video version of this, you can go to Flourish.Academy.tv. Make sure you share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next
All
episode.
right. Adios.